Hey everybody. So real quick before the video starts, couple of things. The first thing is I have to do a little bit of a retraction. In the first video, this is going to be a two-parter, and the first part is going to be just a brief discussion about the Katie Montgomery and Chelsea discussion that came out on her channel. I'm going to be posting that with the links for stream. I had made a claim that I had heard wrong and said that I thought that the woman that LiQWYD had rejected for a job was the person that Katie is talking to. That is not the case. She is just aware of it. As far as I know, I could still have some stuff wrong on that. I've yet to get really clarity on it, but that might just be my own ineptitude. The second thing is you'll notice on the second part of the video, because I'm squishing two parts together, the audio is not as good. And the reason for that is because unbeknownst to me, the Streamlabs gods decided to apparently switch to the microphone in the Logitech rather than the Yeti. So it's a little tinny. It's not great, but it'll do. So just be aware of that as we go into it. And again, remember, if despite my technological errors, if you like the work we do, please like the video. And you absolutely can donate to the links below. So we really appreciate that. Lots of love, and yeah, enjoy. Hey everyone. So I wanted to talk about something that I found today, and I thought it was pretty cool. Cool in the sense that it gave more data, not great in regards of what it means. Bear with me. So, who here watched the video about LiQWYD?
Also, sometimes it is self-care. If you need to skip that one, it's okay.
Yeah, I give more than enough trigger warnings. Please, yeah, that thing is not safe for life. Be careful.
It is self-care for Zena to not watch that one, because I will get very sad.
Yeah. So, LiQWYD, for those who don't know, is a former adult actress who is also a TERF, trans-exclusionary radical feminist. And she penned not so much penned, but put on her live journal, which is now defunct and gone, an incredibly hateful and disgusting manifesto of her dislike of trans people. She's also well known for being a person who engaged in a lot of inappropriate behavior, essentially sexual assault, and also allegedly, and also I agree, Fesh. It was worse than some manifestos of mass shooters. But also, she was also famous because she refused to do a scene with a trans woman. Enter this situation. So, this is the lovely Katie Montgomery. She is a trans woman who often talks shit about TERFs and regularly, essentially, just makes fun of their tweets. They're good stuff. They're fun if you need a background noise. Love her to death. She's so nice on Twitter, though she isn't following me, and it's sad. Follow me, Katie. Please. Anyway, so the person she's talking about, Chelsea Poe, is a adult film actress and a trans woman. And if I understood the context of this video, which I recommend people watch if I get this wrong, Chelsea was one of the trans women that was approached by the BBC for that article, and all of the things she said were dropped. What's interesting is that the reason they dropped it most likely was because, as she alleges, that they didn't want to use her part because it went directly against their narrative. They wanted to portray the narrative that lesbians are being afflicted by trans women, despite there being no evidence of this and no history of it, and they only asked 3 people, one of which was a monster.
I'm your lesbian.
You're my lesbian, that's true. I'm your lesbian.
That is also super true.
Yeah, 3 people, no anecdote, no data, and one of them was literally TERF Mussolini or something. It's just not good. So My understanding is that this woman has interacted with Chelsea, has interacted with Lily via their work. And I might have misunderstood this, but if I remember the video correctly, please watch it and tell me if I'm wrong. But Chelsea might be the woman who Lily flipped out about. Now, granted, I don't remember that specifically well. I was migrating when I listened to this, so please check me on the shit. But what's really fascinating about this is that Chelsea Poe attempted to warn the BBC about Lily Cade's nonsense. And they did nothing. The reason why I wanted to bring this up as just a quick update is because one of the things the BBC has been really dodgy about is, did they know this? Once they got pushback, they waited fuck all, and then decided to actually finally take Lily's part out of it. But the framing was, did they know about it? And the answer is, at least allegedly, according to Chelsea Poe, who I am far more willing to believe than, say, the BBC, considering the article they put out, yes, they were aware. They perhaps were just hoping that, hoping that,
It'd be fine.
It'd be fine, good. The fact is that, for those who didn't watch that video, I'm not going to go into what this woman said, but when we talk about Dave Chappelle, or we talk about, TERFs, we talk about these situations, people often like to minimize and gaslight the trans community, saying these aren't that deep. When Dave Chappelle said he was Team TERF, everyone said, oh, he just didn't know the TERF is fine. But when people hear the word TERF in the trans community, Lily Cade is who they think of. Lily Cade is the example, because she's a mask-off TERF. The TERFs right now are scrambling, trying to pretend they do not support this woman, despite the fact that they do, and then trying to reframe it back to, but what about all the lesbians who are being forced? No one is being forced in anything. Ask actual lesbians, not TERFs. Go to r/actual lesbians on Reddit. This is not a thing. You need to actually bring data. You need to actually bring court cases. You need to prove this without just baseless accusations where this is clearly for a political agenda.
Yep.
And so I highly recommend everyone watch this and check it out. I'm not going to go over it on stream because it is an hour long, and our streams are not that long. Yeah, Lily was a breath of fresh air because finally saying the quiet part out loud. Exactly. The thing here is that Lily Cade is a monster, and she's somebody who is deeply in need of help and to not be allowed near any trans people ever. And the fact of the matter is that this comes back to what we said earlier in the stream. You have to question these narratives. You have to question them and dig into your own data. You can't just accept these things at whole cloth. This is not an appeal to conspiracy. This is not an appeal to the fake liberal media. It's that the media is more, the media is more complicated than that. Essentially, can't talk today. The media sometimes has biases.
Yep.
The media, in this case, the BBC, has very real biases against trans people, and has showed this on multiple occasions. The fact that they haven't taken down that article as of this recording is proof. And so I just wanted to update you all on this and let you know what's going on. No, what did her wife say? Jolly, what did her wife say? Tell me. So go watch this. The link's in chats, and I'll make sure it gets on the video.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everyone. So we just wanted to go over a brief update to the BBC situation. We have another video that I haven't put together yet where we discussed some of the stuff around Lily Cade and some of her history. I had made an error in that, and you'll probably see it right before this video because I'm going to make them just a solid video. But in it, we discussed that We had thought that the person that Katie Montgomery was talking to was the person that she was the person that LiQWYD refused to see. No, she was just aware of it. So that's what I've been clarified in chat. So I apologize for the mistake. I misunderstood. It was hard to hear her at times because her mic was weird. So here's the thing. Let's get into this. So as you know, BBC is kind of in hot water with a lot of the trans community right now because the BBC platformed a TERF article that essentially was filled with propaganda that was anti-trans. One of the members of that article that they had used as a source was a woman by the name of LiQWYD, who is a monster. If you want to know more about that, see the LiQWYD video. I'm not going to repeat that stuff here. But let me be very clear. She is a TERF and a monster. And I don't care whether her wife on Twitter says that this is due to a manic moment. I have worked with bipolar people. Never once has anyone in a manic moment gone on a genocide rant. Sorry. You don't get to pull the school shooter routine where it's mental illness. But anyway, so LGBTQ employees are quitting the BBC because they say it's transphobic. We're going to go through this quick because I don't think we got to cover it a whole lot, but I just want people to be aware of it. Yeah, manic or not, or manic way have agreed with her. True. So LGBTQ employees are quitting the BBC due to its way of handling stories about LGBTQ people, Vice World News has learned. 5 former members of the staff spoke about how they felt hidden and ashamed during their time at the BBC, which eventually led them to quit. The most recent resignation was last week. So they talked to him over Zoom. They found it disappointing and frustrating. Vice World News was sent a full recording of the session, and essentially, like, the big news of this happened right after the article that we just talked about, that in fact, it essentially asserted that trans women were bullying women into sleeping with them, despite that having no evidence whatsoever. And the fact that even, like, for example, genital preferences is literally a discussion point in the trans community. This is not something we're a monolith on. I generally think that genital preferences are totally cool, as long as they're based on your attractiveness to those genitals and not based on, is that person trans? And you also acknowledge that if a person has SRS and they in fact have those genitals, that they then are in the running. Not being attracted to someone is cool. Hating them because they're trans is not. So I know someone that walked out the other day over the article. I know someone else that left a couple of months ago. I know about 8 trans people that left the organization the past 12 months because they don't believe the BBC is impartial anymore. I mean,
that's a huge number to lose, by the way.
Considering that we're about 1, maybe 2% of the population, if we include, all the Zoomers, like, that's a huge amount of trans people. Huge. My trans and LGBT friends have lost confidence in the BBC. I'm losing confidence in the BBC, and I'm considering whether my place should be in this organization, another person added. The meeting was attended by Phil Harold, who runs BBC Director General Tim Davies' office, and around 100 LGBTQ staff. Staffers openly shared their frustration with each other on the Zoom call, which lasted 90 minutes. There were no responses or explanations given for their concerns by Harold. Of course not. Let's see here. A lot of frustration, a lot of irritation, and now the article. Potentially dropping the Stonewall program, then the Nolan podcast. I'm not familiar with the Nolan podcast thing. Maybe I'd have to look that up and we'll have to do some talk about that. So the reason why I think this article is important, and I'll make sure to have it in the things for you guys to see, is that the BBC publishing that article does demonstrable harm. We've talked about Dave Chappelle and his Impossible Burger joke. We've talked about the fact that this type of rhetoric is demonstrably harmful. And the fact is that article was part of very real TERF propaganda. That being that there is a reoccurring argument they've made for the last 10 fucking years, or even longer, because second wave feminists have been making bitch claims against trans women for the last 40, 50 years. The transsexual empire and shit like that. Again, whipping girl. Thank you. So the fact is that this is nothing new. This idea that trans women are being shown as predators, that we're just trying to foist ourselves on lesbians, is nothing new. But the fact that a powerful organization such as the BBC is touting these ideas is insanity. And so there's a very real feeling there that you're not safe. Let's see. The BBC is a hostile place for the LGBT at the moment. Refuses to listen to a staff and continues to behave irresponsibly, touting transphobic nonsense and declaring it impartial. Yeah, they're doing the both sidesing. That's their argument right now. They're saying that right now it's trans people and TERFs. We need to hear everybody.
Can you keep scrolling on this?
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I'll blur that out in the video. I apologize. I wasn't paying attention to it. Apparently, the Nolan podcast, according to Tiamat's research, did a series of LGBT stuff, branded Stonewall as a lobby group, and called it exploitative because it pushed LGBT plus rights.
Wow, that's a take.
And Jocelyn, I agree. Doctor Who fans have a lot of transphobia in them. I really wanted to like the 13th Doctor. I think that session was handled really poorly, or that series was handled really poorly, but that's showrunner issues. I think she was a delight, from what I saw. So again, we're not going to go into all the detail of this, but this is my issue. Them being in a position like this where the BBC is terrible is by definition awful, because it is going to do demonstrable psychological harm. It makes them feel unsafe at their work, which again, if you remember, in capitalism, we spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week in our jobs. So the BBC is basically both sidesing this shit and trying to, in some way, claim that they're not toxic when in fact they are. I guess the point I just want to make with this is that this is a group, this is a organization, the BBC, that platformed LiQWYD. This is an organization that allowed TERF propaganda to be placed there.
A pretty large company, honestly.
Yeah, apparently the Nolan podcast thing happened.
Yeah, this is a pretty large company.
And apparently the BBC will not be renewing its participation in the Diversity Champion program. In the future, we will be working with a range of external organizations. I guarantee one of them is going to be LGBT Alliance. A hate group, mind you, just to be really clear. So, again, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this. There's going to be the other part of the video before this. But I just want you guys to be aware of this. If it's by the BBC, I'm going to ask that people boycott it. I'm just going to say that. We talked about earlier in the stream about how Disney hasn't handled a lot of LGBT stuff really well, but a lot of the actors have. And there's things about the MCU and various things that I like. But the BBC, in all honesty, has put out some really shit content, and also they handle this stuff really, really poorly. The fact is that the response that fans gave to the 13th Doctor, when you went from a person again, I'm just going to say my thoughts on this is the Doctor Who stuff. Love Tennant, love Smith, didn't like Capaldi at the beginning. Capaldi grew on me, and then he was cool guitar grandpa. And then Jodie Whittaker was a delight the entire time. She was just a ray of sunshine, and basically canonically made the Doctor trans. Sorry, transphobes, go fuck yourselves. Everybody could have rolled with that and been cool with it, because this has been basically true since Matt Smith Doctor, unless there have been other times early in Doctor Who that I'm unaware of. In the episode that was written by Neil Gaiman, the one where the TARDIS got its own physical body, and she was really cute, and apparently Matt Smith was flirting with her. It was a thing. Yeah, essentially, it was literally the idea that there was it was a Time Lord by the name of the Corsair that was when he was a guy, he was great, and when he was a girl, he was a very bad girl. It was literally just.
Of this, but
this is during the Matt Smith time.
Okay.
It's
been a while. It's been a while since that.
Yeah. Matt Smith, good. Weird Orville Redenbacher Doctor. Sorry. So he just wants you to taste his popping corn. So my point with all this is I need people to really consider whether you have something you actually really give a shit about at the BBC. If you don't, then it's probably a good idea to get the hell out. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. You can also ring the bell if you want to be notified of our videos. If you want to help the channel, you can donate at streamlabs.com/transgirltherapist/tip. You also can become a patron at patreon.com/transgirltherapist. As low as $3, you can support our channel. Thanks for watching.